All right, welcome. So let's get this replay review started. We have the ShiestedShogun here, primarily a team player, plays team rank. He's Diamond 1 in team rank, Plat 1 in solo. So I looked at two games of yours. I looked at this victory that we're going to look at first, and then I looked at a loss that you had. And between those two games, I noticed some good things that are occurring, also some things that were consistently that you could improve on in both those games. So to start off this one, let's just talk about team games for a second. So the important thing about team games is that how much are you communicating with your team? Because if you have, I was guessing based off this, but these look like people that are randoms. And when you're playing team games, you kind of lose some of that control, right? And 1v1, it's all on you whether you win or lose. On team games, you can carry, but there's also significant need from your teammates. And what I think went great in this victory is that you actually played really well in helping your teammates out. But when it comes to team games, one thing I suggest you always do is just start off by just saying, what are you guys doing? Here's what I'm going to do. Name your plan. Leads me to step 2. I'm probably going to say this at the beginning of every replay review, but I hope you have a goal in mind. Like something you're trying to accomplish in RTS is you have to start off with, here's the thing I'm going to do. And of course, you have to change as the game is going on, but hopefully you have this plan in mind. And so what I'm guessing your plan is here is your plan was to go straight into feudal pressure one of the opponents, and then kind of see what happens. Because afterwards you went to castle, then you kind of like went to tech and TC. We'll talk about that in a second. So get started. You're doing the military school opening. Love it. You said you need at least 3 sheep here to make it through castle. You're scouting. And here's the first thing I think you need to watch. So the Ottoman opening can be a little bit difficult because you have to both scout. Ooh, poor sheep. To both scout and you have to kind of finagle your villagers. Here's how you should set this all up. Here's my suggested opening build order. So you scout out, shift to your scout, send them out, have them kind of do a little square here. Your scouting is pretty good. We'll talk about scouting though in a second. When these 5 villagers come back, what I do is I try to come back just when they're coming back from the stone. I'll even like put them in a control group 2. So it's easy for me to click back. I'll have like scout on control 1. I'll have these 5 villagers control 2. Here's what you should do. Once these 5 come back, send them all to sheep except 3 of them. So like as they're walking to sheep, grab 3 of them. Look at your straggler trees. Which trees are the closest to your gold? So this one, for example. You're going to send 2 to build a military school and 1 to chop the tree down. The key with tree chopping is that if all your villagers are chopping the same tree, you're actually losing time because they don't start gathering the wood till the tree's chopped down. So it's actually good to have like 1 villager chop the tree down with the other 2 go do something else, and then they can gather the wood. Same thing with sheep. You want to move your villagers around the different sheep because if they all are on the same sheep, then they'll all waste their time doing the animation on the next sheep. But so to summarize this, to move your villagers correctly. So the opening build order should be, as you can see, if you start to come back and you put 4 on wood, I think that's actually going to slow your age up. And looking at your time, your age up is a bit slow. You're on like the last ones to age up here. So I would do 2 on the military school. I would put 1 on the trees and the rest on food. You then want all 3 to chop wood until you get to 50 and then move those 3 to the gold. While you're doing that, so you have 2 build the military school, they go to wood. You now have 3 on wood, 3 chop wood. Once they get to 50 wood, you go to the gold, mine gold. You then rally the rest to sheep until you have 10. Once you hit 10 on food, and this is why you need to make sure you get your scout back in time, because those 10 will burn through 3 sheep right before your age up. Once you have 10 on food, you should roughly hit 200 gold and 400 food at the same time. You then move 6. You didn't do age up with 6 to kind of catch up with the military school build. If you want to do 4, you can, but do 6 on the age up. And then rally out to these straggler trees after you hit 10 on food until you get 50 wood, build a house. Until you get another 50 wood, build a lumber mill. If you want to see that opening, I do it almost all my Ottoman games. If you want to go to my profile and watch one of those. Because the age up, it really matters, especially in team games where we're talking about your ability to get defense is up, your offense up. Okay. So what you do with the spearmen's really important on these military schools. What I kind of do in my mind is there someone to pressure? So on team games, you're going to pressure the person who's closest to you, in this case, this person right here. And learning quickly who that person is affects if you're going to send your spearmen out or not. So looking at the people you're playing against, it's a mirror comp. You have an Ottoman, you have an Abbasid, and you have an English. There's an English player, I wouldn't send the spearmen. Their villagers can shoot bow and arrow. You're gonna waste the spearmen. On another Ottoman player, I generally don't send the spearmen because then we're just dueling with the similar spearmen, and they're going to have spearmen faster than me, so I'll lose. It might be worth when wasting their micro, but I'd rather have it on defense. If you're near the Abbasid player, send it, because the Abbasid player is going to be greedy. They're going to go for multiple TCs, and having a spearman here and there could actually really break them down. So you want to pre-send out your spearmen just in case, because you don't know who's going to be here. And if it's Abbasid, you're already right there ready to start messing things up. The last thing I consider is if, let's say you're playing a team against a bunch of Knight Civs, I would send like 1 or 2 spearmen out to mess with their gold. Like if you're across from a French player, you want to get your spearmen out to bother their gold to slow down their knight production, but then keep a couple spearmen back as defense when they start trying to harass you. But instead you kind of keep your spearmen here for a second, you send them late, and then you notice you'll get there too late to really bother the Abbasid player. Because on team games, you know the opposing team's going to go double TC. It's Hell and Dale. So knowing your map, they're going to want to go multiple TCs. They're going to want to trade. So even sneaking a spearman into the back and having it sit there on the trade route will be really annoying later when they start sending traders. You can kill a couple traders beforehand. So you send your scout out, and then you're scouting, and boom, you know it's Abbasid. And this should immediately send you to go, okay, I gotta get on this, because one thing in team games, people kind of expect everyone to be super greedy. And I'll talk about this in the second game, where it's not a bad idea to go 2 TC as Ottoman in team games, since everyone's going 2 TC. But if you really want to do this 1 TC rush, you have to get there, you have to be aggressive, and you have to be confident in your attack. So you see this, you go to the Twin and Madrasa. On these big team maps, Sahara trade route wouldn't be bad. You get free gold. You know one of your teammates is going to set up a marker in the corner. So you have that trade gold. A lot of these team games go late, so having the trader set up is really good. So just a thought. So since you didn't present your spears, if you had present your spears, you would have a spear here and potentially a spear here. You wouldn't have lost your scout. Losing your scout really sucks because you don't know where the resources are. You don't know where the gold is, you don't know where the stone is. So now you're kind of guessing here. Yeah, that sheep sucks. So you see what I talked about. Ottoman players are going to have 3 spears, you're going to have 2. You age up, and then here's the next thing. So I'm gonna assume, just in case, I'm gonna define a lot of lingo, right? So the macro is how you set up your economy for the overall game. The interesting thing about Ottoman is that you actually want to stay away from food a little bit early on, because you got to rev up your economy here. You have to rev up your production before you can do anything. And you have military school giving you enough units to generally defend against anyone who's going to come for you. So on the age up, you should only have 4 on food. 4 is all you need to make a villager. So on the age up, keep 4 on food, put them all on wood. Second, once you finish the age up, send them all to wood. Like, if you want to get a little fancy, maybe like put 2 on sheep so that you have 6 on food altogether, and then 2 on wood. But you should be primarily like 8 on food this early. You're going to float so much food. And unless you're trying to rush castle, it's not worth it. You should actually, if you have more on wood, it allows you to get more production up. You can get moving faster. Second, the second you get 50 wood, you have 240 right now, 250. The second, especially at Ottoman, if you want to rush as Ottoman, get off gold, go and get your military schools up. Get 3 on, you should have 3 on gold, move those 3 to stone, get 200 stone, then go back, and go back to gold. Good. I like how you move these guys out onto sheep. You should also keep 3 on the twin here. On this landmark, you should do 3 villagers. 4, they go too fast. 3 will, it's a nice pace there. Alright, so the fun thing about Ottoman is how you set up the military school. So that's why I think actually putting this military school this far forward potentially is bad. If you put your blacksmith way up here, like what you'll notice if people go to Ottoman, the placement of your military schools and how you do blacksmith is important. Your blacksmith, you want to do it forward, fine. Your blacksmith should be way up here. It should like barely touch this one to give you all the space to put production. Another option would have been to put your military school down here. And then you could have put your blacksmith here and you had all of this space to put production. But what you're going to notice is when you put your blacksmith here, you cut off all these areas that you could put production in until you mine those out completely. So if you had shifted your blacksmith up to here, you would have had more production space. You're going to do blacksmith. Remember, 100 wood to build production. So I would have taken, you have 12 on food right now. You have 330 food. You're not using that. You're not using that yet. So if you had 8 on food, you could have been 2, just get this production up. Like, if you're going to rush, rush. There's nothing. You gotta save those spearmen. Like, saving those spearmen on this first fight is important. 3 more spearmen, or 2 more spearmen, can make the difference in an early fight. No matter. Okay. Get some archers out. So, awareness. What is your team doing? What is your opponent doing? So I'm guessing you're not typing back and forth. If they're not telling you what they're doing, it's worthwhile to take a quick peek. I'm going to look over English. They have no units. They're doing the classic team-based no unit challenge. They've mined enough stone. They're going to do a second TC. It looks like they're going right there. So I know English is not going to have anyone to help. Avs is on 2 TC. They're going to 3rd TC. They're not getting units to help soon. So what you're hoping is I hope they're not rushing us, because if the opponents rush, you could be in a bad spot. You attacking, actually, I think is going to be something that really helps your team, because you're going to draw all 3 of the opponents. So, in a way, I think you actually did the best thing for your team. You attack to draw pressure, which allows your teammates to boom a little bit. But man, if the opposing team had Rus or French or a more aggressive English, your team could have been potentially in a pretty bad spot. That's when team game. People sometimes think you just not make units all the way up to Imperial in team games, and sometimes it works, but it's always important to get units. So you walk out. I think you could have gone earlier. I think you could have been rallying your troops out to here from the start, because you know this Abyss player is not building units. So you actually could have rallied your units out from the start and just gotten right there. So your ally has scouted, but if your scout was alive, it would have been really important to figure out where he's putting his next TC. And what you'll find out later is that they put the second TC back here. It's really, really safe. So you're not going to attack that. You could, but it'd be kind of a waste. So what resources can you attack here? The key of an opposite player is that when they multiple TC, we're going to talk about this in the next game too, they're going to run out of food quickly. They have to spend extra food on villagers, and anyone who does multiple TCs is going to run out of food. So whenever I see another TC, I think, where's the food? Where do I go to stop them? Because if you force them to make farms, that's a lot of wood down the drain. If you're camping their food sources, you're going to get villagers. Rush out. Make sure to have your production, and see if you had come earlier, if you had spears out here, you might have been able to stop this wall. He doesn't have units. If you had 2 spearmen just sitting here, this wall stopped. Be rallying out, you 2 Spahi back. Once again, I can't see this on the replay. What I like to do is I put all my production on 3. Command control group 3, and then you can use tab to cycle through them. So make sure you have them on a command key so you can keep flipping back and building units. You have good production right here, but sometimes when we get in the heat of battle, we stop making units. That separates players really quickly, if you're making units during fighting or not. Make sure you're getting upgrades when you get more in gold. See, look at this. Look at this floating resources. You should be floating resources. If you can't spend these resources, that means you have enough production. Unless you're holding for castle, spend these resources. If you're pushing. See, look at this. You have 3 Sipahi in queue. And you could queue up 2 more. You need more stables. You could queue up more archers. You could upgrade your spearmen and queue them. Use your resources. If you're gonna push, use your resources. If you're gonna save, save. I guess you're not because you have 2 on gold right now. Great, break it. Nice. Chase him in. Good. 3 down. Okay, and then you see your opponent coming in, and what's he have? He has 4. He has spearmen, and they're not even upgraded spearmen. Here's what you should do. Okay, so you're mostly a horse, right? You have 2 archers, but they're not going to kill anything. That's not enough. You'd probably lose this, or lose too many resources to make it worth it. So what do? If the opponent army is primarily, so like infantry, you now have the speed advantage. It's a little micro heavy, but what I would do is I would double click my horseman, get on my horseman, I'd move him left. I would then move my spearmen and my archers back. I'd send my Sipahi up here, and let's see if we can find something. I'll circle around and hit their food. I'll go up and... Oh, there's the second TC. He's probably going to go for that food. I'll go up and attack there. The key here is that the more pings your opponents are seeing, the more mistakes they're going to make. And early on, you don't even need to do it well. But they're... At this level, they're going to tend to send all their units to one spot. If you put 4 Sipahi back here, so you shift queue them, boom, boom, and now you're attacking their gold and their food, they're going to either send all their units back, which then allows you to bring these back up and then attack again, or they're going to make a mistake. And the second you're getting attacked, run away. Like, the goal is not to do a bunch of damage, the goal is just to distract them. You'd be surprised. Plenty of games I've turned around when I sent a small raiding party to backline while they're fighting, they don't see it, and they lose like 15 villagers. So you're going to run back. So I'm going to pause. I've actually said a lot. So what's the big thing? 1, goal into macro. What's your goal? Are you attacking feudal? Are you going castle? Are you getting 2 TC? Have your villagers out accordingly. Try the build order I gave. If you need to see it, watch one of my games. Watch the beginning of it. Ottoman game, you'll see it. 2, what are your teammates doing? What's the opponent doing? Be looking around the map to catch. And know what to expect from your allies. Your purple, pink, they can't help you right now. So if something goes bad, you need to preserve your units because you're basically the only person who could defend anything right now. Okay? It's almost like a cycle. Every like 5 to 10 seconds, I look at my resources. I ask myself, what am I doing? What do I need to change? What do I need to keep? At this point, you probably want to start rallying to gold because these upgrades are going to matter a lot. Getting these upgrades are going to be really, really important. And then you notice how only 2 on this. So look at all this waste. Look at all this food. With the twin landmark, you don't need as many on food. You'll get so much from these berries. Okay. So this is wasted time. You burning down the second part of this doesn't do anything. These Sipahi are back here. Raid with them. The Sipahi is such a good raiding unit. And knowing they're probably going to get traded. If you just got them back here, their trade immediately gets messed up. Just run them back here, shift him over here, start killing traders, get out of here. And at this point, in your head, you go, oh, orange is all spear. Second you see what your opponent does, I would have dropped down 2 more archery ranges, you have the food for it, and pump archers. Pump archers. Respond. The key to this game is responding what your opponent is doing. If your opponent has a bunch of spears, get archers out there. Get archers out there, run your horsemen around so they can't catch it. And see, this is what walls do. If you had run your spy back there, those walls don't matter as much. Now you're stuck. Okay, so your ally's playing SimCity back here. Got a castle, is now rushing Imperial. I have a whole slew of things I'd say to your teammates here. You go Ram. I could keep the pressure on. At this point, though, I would stop making units and get the castle. You've lost a lot of time. Your teammates are on castle. I mean, one's rushing Imp. You know the opposing team has no one in castle. And these are a lot of units. So I would fight with these units and try to make this a diversion army. This is the army you're going to try to do some damage. You're going to try to keep them making units so you can go castle and then come back with a better army. So at this point, cut all production. You have 8 on gold, get 10, 12 on gold. You have 8 on stone. It's a lot on stone. You don't need that many on stone unless... I mean, if you're going second TC, okay. This is actually a great time to do that. I would back her up to second TC after you go castle. You should be rushing castle right now. And then, after you get castle, move 8 to 9 on stone. And get a second TC. Okay, so this is the part that gets a lot of people when you get into kind of like stuck phase. 1, lead with your siege. Lead with these ramps. These ramps are going to soak up a bunch of damage. So send them in first. Have your archers go in second. Then if they come in with horsemen and stuff like that, send in your spears. And this is once again a great time. If you had taken 4 Sipahi, put them on control group 4, send them around back, you're... Let's actually reveal here. Look at this. 2 on gold. On the food sources. Guarding this over here. Food sources. Like, if you scout, you look at the map, they're on a resource. There's no way they still have enough sheep. So if you just look at your map and go, where are the food resources? Send 4 Sipahi there. Send 4 here. Send 4 here. Send 4 here. You're going to catch something. So you go in. When I first watched this, I was like, uh-oh. I thought this armor was way bigger than it is. I thought you were dead. But you actually do a great job at realizing, okay, you put your spear to spear. Awesome. You send your horsemen back on the archers. Perfect. Your spy going to clean that up. So here's the problem. So you've done, this is great, but you've actually, and you're doing great damage, but you haven't actually killed that many villagers. Oh, he's on 59, so you've done some villager damage. The goal here now, though, is keep your army, maintain pressure. I would pull my army back at this point, because now you're just being destroyed by the TC. Cool, get these villagers. Nice, nice, nice. Your rams are just moving. Your rams should be attacking the town center. Or have your rams just destroy these houses. When you saw this, that's where you run. Get out. Save this military. Keep your rams hitting. They're going to have to kill the rams. You run back. You save this army. Especially because you have the secondary army still sitting back here. But don't throw this away. Run back. Run away. Run away. Or if you're going to stay, focus the villagers. Like, just click on your archers, shift, click all of his villagers, and just stack the villagers. It's a great attack. Save these guys. Save them. Save your military. One of the things that gets people killed, and this is more for a one-on-one, but when you're doing this damage and you go into castle, now you have this lead, losing your military like this could be the difference between when you're losing. Save the military. Save it. Back out. Bring it back here. Run them around to a different part of the map. And then from here on out, your allies who have now beefed up are going to start doing work. But it's amazing on these team games how disruptive you can be with 4 or 5 Sipahi just running around the back of the base. With a scout, with a meter, you'll do a lot of damage. You get your second TC up. At this point, what's your goal? You fit castle, what's your goal? What's your comp? Mass, if you can get trade up, Janissaries are great. Mass Janissaries, I think in castle are underrated on how you can do them. So like I like to do a Sipahi Janissary or a Spearman Sipahi Janissary mix. Maybe you want to do mass siege, but what's your plan into this? Because you want to build a force, maintain the pressure. I don't really have much more to say about this game. I think. Yeah. You guys will eventually win that. You guys got to trade up faster. I like the second piece in the castle. Just building production. Game production up. You could potentially, like you're doing this right now, you could have already had that up. So to summarize from your first game. Goals. What do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? How are you going to do it? What are you reacting to? 2 reactions. What are your opponent doing? What are your teammates doing? What's the best reaction to ask yourself? What do I do in response? to this. 3 villager use. Builder I talked about. What are you trying to get to? Moving your villagers accordingly. Try not to move them too much. I don't know when you got wheelbarrow, but get wheelbarrow as soon as possible in that if you have to move your villagers around a lot. But overall, I like actually team using this early pressure. You just gotta know when to quit. And yeah. Okay, let's go to your other game. The Shogun. Okay, so I think this second game is a great evidence of not knowing, like not quite scouting well enough to know what your opponent's doing, and not being aggressive enough. I've been victim of this too. The big thing you see is that your opponent, once again, you're crossing the opposite, is going to go multiple TCs, like literally like 6 TCs, and you're not going to do anything about it. And they do it with 0 units. They do it completely for free. And then when they go castle, they just flood you with units. And this actually could have been prevented because you actually played it right. If they're going to go multiple TCs, they're going to play greedy, you punish with early aggression. So the thing I said, you should do 5 on stone. Then you put 1 on a military school, two on military school. You should two on this military school, 1 on wood. Then put those 2 onto this for 3 on wood till you get 50. Put it on gold. And then put 10 on food. And then put the rest on wood. Build a house. Build a lumber camp. Move from there. On these teams, I think because you usually spawn close up together, it's okay to get your scout all the way up to see who's on your side. And then run back. This spearman should be sent up. I'm going to move a little bit faster. A lot of the things I'd say in your first game, I'd say here again. Boom. Okay, so you see stone immediately. And I love this harass you dude, but one thing you have to notice is, I'm looking at the map here, they have a stone here and he has a stone here, so I immediately know if I push him up this stone, he's going to go to that back stone. But I love this harass here. You do a great job. Harassing. It's going to look at your wood. You have enough wood. Get production up. You push them off, and you should know, oh, they are going back here. And this is when you get kind of stuck. I would have, while my spearmen are doing this, where can my scout go? I need information. You could have keep your scout down and over and watch this other stone. Or just gone around his base. What are the resources around his base? Because you know he's gonna send a second TC somewhere back here. So if you had built immediately, I didn't realize you had aged up yet. That's why I aged up with 6. Because aging up a little bit early helps a lot in this pressure. If you had aged up with 6, you would have been finished right now. I would have sent immediately, knowing that I'm across the opposite. He's already going hard on stone. I would have taken like 3 villagers and immediately built. I would have built stables. I would have built a blacksmith. Once again, blacksmith placement. You could have put the military school here. There's a lot of space to build blacksmith. This works too, but I would put the blacksmith up here. But send him forward. Just get a stable down quick. Send a Sapahi out. Boom, boom. Send it back here. You know they're going to go back here for the TC. But just have them stand here is not getting you anything. So you send your scout back. Beautiful. Oh, wall. Come back. Second TC. You go, okay. Ugh. And he builds his archery range and makes you go, uh-oh. But guess what? And then your team even comes over and messes with him. He builds 1 archer, and that's it. So 1 camel, 1 archer. That's it. And he's pumping onto his next TC. You get your scout back here. I would literally just plop your scout closer to here so you can see is he going for another TC. And right now, you have 2 options here. You could either gone for your own second TC, or you could have pumped units. And you've built production, but there's no units. We need units. Once again, this blacksmith. It's actually better. Put your blacksmith and bring them around the outside. You'd be surprised. You can fit a lot more production. You don't need the whole building in the influence. You just need like the corner of your building in the influence. You can fit a lot more if you corner your buildings around the influence of the blacksmith. So get units out. Get units out. Boom. You see third TC. Once you see the third TC, you should know he has no food. He has no food. He probably has no units. Because look at this. He has 5 on food. To make enough, he's spending 32 for each villager. He has to build around 3 TC at the same time. So he's spending almost 100 food every 20 seconds. That's a lot to maintain that. You come out, and this is when you go kind of weak. If you had just immediately attacked this TC, it's down. It's done. You can't do. They can't do anything. Once again, so what's going on? You know, your teammate, their H2. It's funny because this HRE player and the opposing HRE player literally did the same move. But here's the thing: if your goal is to get one of them off, it's okay. You need to get Abbasid shut down. But you run away. Be brave. Get in there. You see 3 TCs and you get passive. When you see 3 TCs, you should go, oh, you just saw that build? The enemy doesn't have resources. Attack him. This TC's dead. This TC's dead. You could kill this TC. You probably even kill that TC. Key. Sapaki are great against TCs. You hit the Q. Because they're not getting attacked melee. They're getting attacked by arrows. So you hit the Q, and they will take down a TC super fast. A Forta Sapaki hitting their Q and then attacking a TC can take it down really fast. So you can take it down this TC and this TC. He didn't have units. He had 1 archery range. He's building a 4th TC. So basically you let him greed out without any punishment for it. You had the army. You had him in the right spot. It was prime. He even built another one up here. I'm going to pause that here. But basically, it's the awareness of your opponent's resources in situation. So if they're building multiple TCs, everything about RTS is investment. Your opponent has invested resources into TCs. You've invested resources into units, which means you're just going to have more units. Use that. They should be punished for being this greedy. Because now he's going to build a whole bunch of production. He's going to spike in food. But if you had attacked here, he can't build this TC. You cut off all his wood. You cut off all his food. He has no food up here. You cut off this food because your army is rotating through. He can't use this food. So it's even about where you're attacking your army. He can build he can put as many villagers as he wants here. But if you keep your army here, he has no food. Done. And with how many villagers he's producing, he's going to run out of food really quick. So don't be scared of multiple TCs. If you see multiple TCs, think, where's his food? Could he possibly have enough units to stop me? Attack, attack, attack. Cut off their food, attack, starve them. Alright, well, I hope that was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, just message me and I can answer in text form. If you have any feedback for me, let me know.